Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central, and welcome back to another casted game of the Stormgate Nexus. We're going to be moving on to the semi-finals, and this one is of course going to be between Elazer, playing as the Infernals, and he's going to be going up against PartinG, playing as the Celestials. So these guys, of course, both came through the quarterfinals. Elazer, we just saw him go up against Percival. He liked to play with a pretty aggressive double Iron Vault opening, much as we see him doing here. Interestingly, he's actually going to be sending the meat farm all the way down to the health camp. So, nice little trick there that we often see Infernal players doing, but it is quite far away from his main base, so he could easily lose that later on in the game, but hey, I guess it's still worth it if Elazer is doing it. So yeah, Elazer has been known for some pretty aggressive openings, very aggressive timing attacks in the early game and also in the mid game with the Magmadon. Actually going to send the Hexen straight back home there. Not exactly sure why he's doing that. I guess he sees that PartinG at the moment is not got anything in the natural. Yeah, okay, that's definitely what's up here. He's got nothing in the natural. He's floated his Morkor over here, and I think Elazer thinks that there are some sneaky shenanigans going on in this game. And this is probably going to be early Seraphims here from PartinG, I believe. Is he getting... yeah. Okay, yes, he's got Therium mining going on here. So, I was about to say, we saw PartinG go up against Denver. He won that 3-1, that best of 5. And one of the builds he did there tended to be these early Seraphims that he will get out. So, he likes to get his early tier 2 upgrade for the main building out. Beam up those creep camps there, getting some very early Luminite, get some Therium mining going on, and then yes, he gets the Legion hold out and gets some early Seraphims, gets the map control. But what do we see here? Elazer is putting some brutes out on the field, and they are going straight across the map into PartinG's base. So this is going to be a pretty early timing attack here out of Elazer. There is an imp there. I'm not sure what this guy's doing. He's probably getting ready to expand. Yeah, Elazer is stocking up some Luminite here. So there is going to be an expansion behind this. Not totally all in here from Elazer, but this could be very, very scary for PartinG. However, Elazer has absolutely nothing that shoots up, and Seraphim shoot down. Interestingly enough, they actually can't shoot air themselves, so if you get some anti-air against the Seraphim, they are pretty much completely helpless. But this is looking pretty sketchy right now for PartinG. He does have the link node down here. The Sovereign's Watch is going to come in and maybe buy him the time he needs to get this strike node up and running. 20 seconds or so. I think he should be okay here. The Seraphim is now out as well, so Elazer is going to back up here, realizing he has absolutely nothing to go for those Seraphim for. I will say this though, guys. When PartinG did this build against Denver, in 2 of the 4 games he played, this build kind of failed. Now, yes, he did win one of those 2 games, but it wasn't the most successful build. However, when he was successful, and just for transparency's sake here, Denver is, by the way, a Vanguard player, so he's not Infernal. But when he was successful, he was using Cabals, and he just went for a sort of mid-game Argent Rush. So, I'm very interested to see if PartinG is going to go for some of that during this series here as well. But make no mistake, both of these players are absolutely goated, for lack of a better word, at this game. Obviously, there's only got to be one GOAT, and we don't want to get into the whole GOAT debate. Who is the GOAT of Stormgate? I don't know. Maybe it's just too early to have a go. Meanwhile, there is a Shroudstone going down here, pestering the Therium. That's generally something you see Infernal players doing in the very early game. Sending, you know, a couple of imps across the map, getting some Shroudstones down maybe in the main and the natural at the collection arrays. But, oh, it's actually a meat farm, my bad. But to be putting this sort of stuff down, like in the almost mid-game here, is a little bit interesting. You know, haven't really seen that too much. So, at the moment, finally, Elazer gets out some gaunts here, which are going to be a great answer to these Seraphim. That is going to keep his army nice and safe, and PartinG is going to have to back off from this harassment here. Or I suppose you could call it rather counter-harassment. So no expansion yet coming down. In fact, for either player, it's sometimes the Arc ship kind of blocks the view there. You're like, is there a collection array there? Okay, no, there is no collection array. Getting some prisms. Oh no, that one's just on the Therium. Probably going to be getting some prisms on the Luminite mine there though, but at the moment both of these players just still kind of hanging on one base, which isn't something that you see at this point in the game all too often. Now, Elazer's army is looking pretty scary. The Guardian Nexus is going down here for PartinG, so he may be well getting into some Kree. He could also be going for the upgraded Argents to give them that extra movement speed. Now, luckily for the Seraphim, though, these are very fast-moving units. They also get a movement boost ability that increases their evade chance, I believe, by 50% against everything. So, you know, these are going to be able to run rings around Elazer's army. But as long as the gaunts are there, they also can't really pressure this. And this is not a lot of Argents here at the front for PartinG. Sovereign's Watch comes down, but I think Elazer can honestly just walk straight into this. But if somebody can defend against this, it's also definitely PartinG. The Sim City here from PartinG is actually very, very good. So you can see he can just tuck those Argents away inside all of his buildings there. He's also got that strike node down. In fact, he's got a second one. That's a strike node. That is a blast node. So some pretty nice defense there for PartinG. That is actually going to be maybe a harder base to push up into than I first thought. But getting some really nice picks here on Elazer's army. A lot of the front line is going down. The Brutes have been caused to split here just to give him some extra mobility. And he's getting a few nice picks on some of the Argents. But he's got to back up now. You know, as soon as PartinG gets back into his main base, the Blast node and the Link node, or the Strike node, are going to do the trick for him. But look at the map, guys. Elazer, absolute crazy map control right now. He has almost every tower on the map except for like the Ethereum ones and that one Luminite tower there. But apart from that, he is in complete control. And actually kind of wild to see that both of these players are still on one base, as we see Plague Axes now researching for Elazer. This is a very late Plague Axes. Normally this would have been done, I feel, long ago if we would have seen a more regular game out of these two players. Okay, PartinG actually going ahead and taking his second here. And the interesting thing with Celestials is you can kind of have like a half-second base. So whilst I would say technically he didn't have a second base, because he has the 3 prisms on there, you know, if you would have 4 prisms mining away, that's sort of 50% the Luminite income of a fully mining base, and then you get the other 50% from the collection array. So that's kind of one of the interesting little differences there that the Celestials have from the other 2 factions. So this may be somewhat stabilizing here. Elazer is going to go ahead and just take his second. I really think he should be more suspect of this base down here. He's obviously keeping watch outside of PartinG's base, trying to expand and stopping his opponent from expanding. That's just sort of the meat and potatoes of playing any RTS. So the fact that Elazer hasn't actually gone down here and scouted, oh, maybe he's gotten a collection array down here, is weird to me, because he could have easily denied this and picked this off. And in fact, probably just won the game by doing that, especially since he has all of the towers here. So PartinG has been doing a decent job trying to take some of these towers. He still has these Seraphim, remember. And these are basically, for those of you who don't know, specialized creep hunters. They take less damage from creeps, they do more damage to creeps, and obviously they can fly around the map, right? And you can cap these towers with air units, so very, very good for doing that sort of thing. So they are a thorn in the side of Elazer, I think, in this game. He is going to find the Legion Hollow here and walk straight past it. Okay, nope, yeah, he's going to see it and he's going to attack it. Good on Elazer. I guess he was a little bit preoccupied with the Seraphim flying around his main base here. So PartinG is going to be moving out a little bit here, bringing up the Ascension Matrix and some more Legion Halls. So we could well be seeing Animancers out of him and some Dark Prophecies coming up, which is generally what you want to see against the mid to late game Infernal Army. Really eats up those gaunts. You know, the gaunts, they will eventually get out Reaper's Rush, which is probably being researched right now. Yes, indeed it is. And that will give these gaunts 30% faster movement speed. But if you can catch them in that Dark Prophecy from the Animancer, that's really going to slow them down. And they just have such a small health pool that they will melt. And if all the gaunts melt and die, that's going to be very bad. But Elazer is going to come in here with a pretty nice timing attack before all the nice tech from PartinG comes out here. But 2 Sovereign's Watches, also the Blast Node firing away. And oh, those Blast Nodes just do so much damage. You know, PartinG doing a really nice job tucking in his Argents here behind the collection array. Doing his best to hold on, but I think the numbers from Elazer may just be too much. Yeah, both of the towers go down there. The power bank's going to go down as well. Sovereign's Watch or no. And you can see here by how many Sovereign's Watch PartinG has used, he's in the red power now. This collection array is probably going to go down. Wait, is it going to get away? Gets down to 100 HP. I think it's going to die. Oh, yeah, it just goes down there. So PartinG is now back on one base again, and This is now looking very much Elazer-sided. You know, he's ahead on supply here. I just don't see how you can come ahead when you're low on power. You've only got one base. I think, yeah, he managed to save the prisms there. So that is a nice little save for him. He did lose the collection array, managed to save the prism, so he's instantly able to get back on there and get sort of almost 50% of mining efficiency from that. Where are his seraphims right now? I like this use here, keeping the scanner between these two camps, just so he can keep an eye on them, see what's going on there. Also got one up there, so whenever you put these scanners on a tree, we don't see these too often, but whenever you put them on a tree, they actually go cloaked. So Elazer has no idea that this is here, I don't think. You can sort of see cloak units in this game, similar to StarCraft and whatnot, but I think if they're not moving, if they're completely stationary, like with an observer, I don't think you see it at all. I haven't really played too many games where my opponents have gone for scanners, so I don't have you know, too much experience on that front without actually seeing it in game. Obviously, it looks a bit different in the replays here. But with the added macro ability of Elazer here, since he just has this way better economy, I mean, just look at the army. It's already coming up. He's getting effigies down here as well, so he's spreading the shroud outside of PartinG's base. I don't know why he's not attacking into this expansion. He's actually going straight for the creep camp instead. So kind of a weird move. I mean, we've got 2 link nodes coming down here, and once again, I feel like Elazer has just missed a massive opportunity to kill this base for free. You know, both of these are warping in. That one's going to be a blast node, and that one's going to be a blast node as well. And the blast nodes are what you see do the little red ring around the enemy targets there. They are very, very good. Lifts off the collection array there. The blast nodes are still warping in though, so Elazer got here just in the nick of time, able to deny the space again. Maybe even get a snipe on those blast nodes, pushing PartinG's army back here. The Animances are, however, out now. So there comes the Dark Prophecy. Oh, that one was absolutely beautiful. Get some really big hits on those gaunts there. But a lot of the Fiends still getting into the main base here. They've actually got a really nice surround on these Animances, and they are, yes, by the looks of it, all of them are going to go down, and that leaves only Argent. So I think this has got to be game here, right? I just don't see PartinG coming back from this. I mean, maybe the main base doesn't go down. There's a couple of turrets left here, but there are a lot of Fiends right now all over his buildings. The expansion's going to go down as well. What about in the middle of the map? We've got, you know, I guess poor old PartinG was thinking maybe I can get some expansion going in the middle there, but nope, Elazer has already taken that for himself to deny PartinG, which is a really nice play on this map because that is something you see the Celestials do a lot. They love to take that middle expansion as a secret base. And PartinG is actually moving with his Arcfortress all the way over to Elazer's side of the map. What is he doing? What is he thinking? Only PartinG knows. Is he going to give it the good old laser beam here? I don't. It's just like some kind of weird, cheesy thing to do at the end of this game. Obviously, PartinG has lost this one. And it looks like he's left the game here. I'm not sure why we keep seeing this in replays, guys, but it no longer tells you when somebody leaves. But GG, game number 1 here on Secluded Grove is going to go to Elazer. So game number 2 here, guys. This one is going to be on Broken Crown. And I think we're going to see Elazer go for much the same thing, most likely putting down this Iron Vault on his ramp here. Pretty common tactic that Infernal players have liked to go for. Actually, moving out with the Iron Vault all the way down here. This is a little bit further forward than I usually see Infernal players putting this one, but in the meantime, you know, Elazer is going to be just going for the very similar build. PartinG, on the other hand, going to be changing things up here, not going to be going for that early Ethereum, instead going to be getting out some early Argents here and doing what PartinG normally does. Like I said, we saw him do that Seraphim build a couple of times up against Denver, and once he won one of those 2 games, I don't feel like he won it really very decisively. You know, the other one he lost, and now he's lost with that same tactic against Elazer, so maybe that build has some certain matchups or situations that it can shine in, but from what I've seen of it so far from PartinG, it just doesn't seem effective as PartinG's normal way of playing the Celestials, where he goes for this much more aggressive style that he's been more renowned for and known for in Stormgate. And this exactly seems to be what he's going for right now. So Elazer, you know, just doing what he normally does here, getting his hexing out on the map, getting some Skulls of Shedder down on the creeps here, trying to get as many fiends out as he can, and he probably will be looking to get across the map and put some early pressure on there. So we're going to be seeing Collection Array here out of PartinG, going to be going heavily into the Argents here, no Therium mining going on. And PartinG is very, very efficient at doing this kind of thing. I've seen him win tournaments with these kind of early builds where he will just get creation chambers out on the map. He'll start pumping out Argents, he'll start creeping, and then he'll use those starting resources from the creep camps to just build more and more collection arrays, more and more creation chambers, and just overpower his enemy with sheer number of Argents and then his superior micro abilities. Now, since those builds have been more popularized, we've seen the creep camps be nerfed a little bit in terms of the Luminite reward and the Therium reward that you gain from them. So you can't really do that kind of stuff anymore. You could creep a lot and really build a lot of infrastructure in your base just from the Luminite you get from these camps. And they are still very valuable, so as you can see, both these guys contesting this health camp here. But they're only half as valuable really as they were before. So we probably aren't going to be seeing as crazy Argent numbers out of PartinG as we normally maybe used to. And Elazer is going to take advantage of this situation and come around the back here, try and get some... I always kind of find it, you know, funny with Brutes and Argents because both of them are so slow. Elazer realizes this and he's just going to split all of his Brutes and get an insane wraparound here on the Argents. Beautiful move because, of course, the Fiends really counter the Argents pretty nicely. The Argents only do extra damage against heavy units. The Fiends are not heavy. The Brutes are heavy. So it just kind of makes sense in terms of mobility and in terms of damage types to split your Brutes and then just go after them with the Fiends. And all of the Argents are going to go down here. This is all of a sudden looking pretty bad for poor old PartinG. And Elazer, you know, he's not going too crazy here. I mean, he's just picked off all of Argent's all of PartinG's Argents there. That was a weird spoonerism. But he's not going mad at sending and streaming Brutes and Fiends across the map into his base and trying to just kill him outright. He does what every good RTS player does. He's just going to take even more advantages on the map, right? So he's contesting this creep camp again as Argents move out on the map there for PartinG and try to retake it. And he's also taking more camps of his own. So he's slowly but surely getting ahead economically, getting ahead in terms of unit sizes here. Remember, every time one of those Skulls of Shedder goes down on a creep, that's going to be one more Fiend in the army of Elazer. But he's not rushing into an expansion once again in this game. So really choosing to get a more sustainable army here. Meanwhile, PartinG, of course, does have 2 collection arrays. So I think Elazer does have to move in here and get some damage done. He realizes that. And there's basically like 4 Argents here out for PartinG. That is just not going to be enough to hold this attack, especially when he has a red power now. The power banks have gone down, and that was actually a beautiful move by Elazer there, sniping the power banks so that PartinG cannot actually use Sovereign's Watch to defend his base. He also has no turrets down here whatsoever, and the main is already being picked off by Fiends. This is all completely wide open for the taking, and I think this is going to be game again here for PartinG. He's just losing all of the Argents here. More Gaunts now streaming in. The Guardian Nexus comes down there. Probably should try and get an upgrade once again for the Argents or get some Krees out on the field. But this is just too little too late for PartinG, and I think Elazer he's definitely got this one in the bag. Desperately trying to float away here with the collection array, but to no avail. That one is going to go down. He's actually got the prisms here on the 3rd position there, sneakily mining away, which is something I often see Mana doing. He's quite good at sneaking some prisms on random Luminite mines across the map, and they will often go undetected. Finally, he gets some power up here to be able to use 1 Sovereign's Watch, but I'm sorry, PartinG, Sovereign's Watch is not going to save you from this situation. But he's going to be trying to cling on here for dear life as long as he can. The last 3 Argents are, however, going down here. And there is, unfortunately, for PartinG, just absolutely no way back in this game. Yeah, I'm not really sure why he's clinging on here, but this one has got to be game, and it's going to go to Elazer. Or is it? Come on, PartinG. Leave the game, dude. The game is over. Maybe PartinG knows something. Like, whenever this happens in a game, and I'm like, I call it, I'm like, okay, guys, the game's over, and then it's, like, they just cling on forever. I'm like, what are they hoping for? Maybe I'm missing something on the map. Maybe there's, like, a huge secret base. Right now, all I see is a creation chamber down here. 3 prisms, and, okay, finally, PartinG leaves the game, guys. So, Elazer, surprisingly, going up 2-0 here over PartinG early on in this best of 7. Alright, so welcome into game number 3, guys. This one is going to be on Boneyard. Much larger map, this one, of course. Sorry, by the way, I forgot to change the scores in the last map there, but it is now 2-0 to Elazer in this best of 7, but plenty more games to go here. Lots of chances for PartinG to come back still. Well, at least 2 more chances, that is to say. And I'm very interested to see what he's going to do here, because PartinG is well renowned for being somebody who can react to what an enemy player is doing on the fly, not just between games, but in games as well. He just, you know, he's gone for 2 different tactics here, right? He's gone for the early collection array, he's gone for the regular double creation chamber there, and that's kind of failed for him. He's gone for the Seraphim build, that's kind of failed. So what is he going to do in this game? Because it seems like Elazer is almost impervious to a lot of PartinG's early game shenanigans. Perhaps PartinG knows that. Maybe he's played against Elazer enough, or he's watched him play enough, and he considers Elazer to be aggressive enough of a player himself that he says, okay, for this matchup, I'm not going to play too aggressively. I'm just going to kind of sit back and try to take Elazer's aggression and defend against that, as we've seen him try to do in the last couple of games. Of course, that hasn't really worked out, though, has it? He's lost both of those games. So if he is going to decide to sit back and defend, he needs to do something differently. But at the moment, as this is a pretty large map, both players just kind of going to be hanging back, creeping here. The creep mechanics of Stormgate are kind of interesting to me, because it's like each faction, they've got their own special way of dealing with the creep camps in the early game. So you'll see the Celestials utilizing Sovereign's Watch, getting that collection array, creation chamber down close to the first creep camp. And then similarly, you'll see the Infernals building their meat farm or their first production building close to the creep camps. So where those creep camps are positioned on the map really says a lot about where you build your base, where you build your first infrastructure and your first buildings. So a little bit of a tussle going on here. But he really needs to be careful, because if you remember in this engagement in the last game, Elazer just split all of the brutes here. He can get 6 more, so he can get a total of 9, 10 fiends in fact. And he can just do a pretty nice wraparound on all of those Argents. So PartinG needs to be aware of that. Keep his units up against the cliff, and he seems to have backed off here, thinking the better of going for that engagement, and probably remembering that bad situation himself. Therium mining actually now coming out for PartinG. So, very interesting. What is he going to be going for here? He's got 2 creation chambers down right now, so he's not going to be going Seraphim, obviously, right off the bat here. This is more likely, I think, to be him either going into Kree or getting the early upgrade for the Argents from the Guardian Nexus, which allows them to move a little bit faster, also gives them some faster energy regeneration. Meanwhile, Elazer is favoring this one base style once again. Generally speaking, you will see an Infernal player go for the Ritual Chamber after they've secured their first expansion. But Elazer is actually choosing instead to get out very, very early on here. And this is one of the beautiful things in the game about creeping, right? You've got the choice. You can either go for like a fast expansion, and you can try to secure yourself an economical lead in what I guess most of us would call a more traditional strategy game or sense of doing things. There comes the Guardian Nexus now for PartinG. Or you can do what Elazer's doing, and you can start creeping around the map and taking all of these towers. He's got a Luminite tower, he's taken both Vision towers, he's got a Health tower, and now he's taking the Therium tower as well. And that is still going to give him a pretty hefty income there. So with his superior army, knowing that PartinG, only with Argents, he can't really get out and challenge this. He's able to get out on the map and take this control. Now, the expansion is going to be going down behind this. But I don't think Elazer has really lost out, economically speaking, too bad from going Ritual Chamber first here, because he's gone and taken all of those creep camps. The Plague Axes are being researched, and we are, of course, gonna see that followed by Reaper's Rush, and then probably Demon Hoof Tremors or something like that for Magmadons later on in the game. Meanwhile, we are actually seeing PartinG go straight into Ascension Matrix here. So it's not... Oh, yeah, he is getting the upgrade there for the Argent, so he is... That was correct on my part, but that wasn't the primary reason for getting the Therium. The primary reason is so he can start researching the Animancers here. He wants to get Dark Prophecy out as soon as he can this game. And this is pretty early. I mean, we're 5 minutes into the game at the moment, and we've already got Animancer research coming out. So in terms of expansions here, we've got 1 prism there, 3 prisms there. So you can consider this 1.5 base right now for PartinG. He is, of course, mining 2 on Therium down there on the natural. Whereas, actually, you know, Elazer a little bit behind on terms of workers. Only 3 on the natural, so economically right now, in terms of Luminite income, PartinG is ever so slightly ahead of this. And Dark Prophecy is already being researched right now, so if Elazer doesn't jump in and... Ooh, nice little sneaky collection array there on the 3rd base here as well. I really like him going for this. I feel like this base is much easier to defend with the 2 ramps than this one. This one is just so far away. And you've got this huge... It's on the low ground. You've got a huge ramp there to defend against. The Infernal Army can easily fit down that ramp as well. So I really like him going for this space. That's the one I would go for as well. But yeah, we haven't seen Elazer going for any kind of timing attack here to try to put an end to this before it snowballs in PartinG's favor. Before he gets Dark Prophecy out. Dark Prophecy is pretty much done. There are Animancers out on the field. And... It's not like in most RTS games, like, say, in StarCraft, where you get ghosts and you have to wait for energy, and the more energy you accrue, the more scary those casters are. You know, for the Celestials, they can just recharge the energy of a unit pretty much instantaneously from their power banks. So once that upgrade is done, once those Animancers pop out, and they just get charged up, buzzed up from the power banks, you better be afraid, man, because they are going to have... many Dark Prophecies. I believe Dark Prophecy is 50 energy, so if you've got 1 Animancer with 100, that's 2 casts. Pesky little fiend run by there in the main, and that is going to distract PartinG a little bit. Maybe enough for Elazer to get in here and do some economical damage on the 3rd base. Sovereign's Watch is going to go down, though, and there is a blast node down there as well, targeting down. Those things are so good, aren't they? I remember the first time I encountered these blast nodes in early access. Somebody had 3 of them set up on their natural, and they just absolutely decimated all of my Argents because they were so slow, and I couldn't really micro out of the blasts, so you do have to back up and respect those turrets. They are very powerful. 2 Animancers now out on the field. 3 Prisms now on the Therium, so PartinG is starting to double down on his Animancer production here. And, you know, I feel as time goes on in this game, this may be a bit of an early prediction. Obviously, neither player has really lost anything, but I feel like it's going to go in PartinG's favor just based on sheer number of Animancers. So, Elazer has actually opted, instead of going for Magrions, to go for Hellborn here. As he continues to creep around there. I'm not sure, has he gotten the upgrade for them yet, actually? No, he's not. Haven't seen Hellborns for a while. Molten Touch, that's the one it's called. That's a new upgrade. Lights the targets on fire once you hit them. So it's sort of like the Atlas effect, right? For the Vanguard, where it leaves the ground burning, only it actually leaves like the target burning for 3 seconds, which is really nice to stack up some extra damage on them. Makes getting those hits all the more important. But Elazer looking like he is actually not going to bother going for that one. But then that begs the question, why has he actually gotten the Hellforge out at all there? Twilight Spire is now going down. Ooh, and look at this from PartinG. Moving the Arc ship across the map, making use of the Arcfortress, and just absolutely zapping Elazer's shrine out of existence. That was beautiful. But it looks like he is going to lose. No, he's maybe just going to get away. careful. Careful, Parting. The Arcfortress is getting pretty low there, dude. It may have a lot of health, but it's pretty slow. So he really has to micro this pretty well up on the high ground there. He does not want to lose this. You do not want to lose your Arcfortress. It takes so long to get that back. Lots of Animancers here, and Dark Prophecies are going to be perfect in these choke points. Parting knows this, and he's cut the army of Elazer in two. This is beautiful. He can zone the rest of the army out here and try to pick some off, but in the meanwhile, Elazer coming in here, going to be getting some nice picks on the Animancers. They've unfortunately... Oh no, they've been caught at the start of the army, and they are going to go down. That was a big, big loss there for Parting. That did not go the way that he wanted it to go. Animancers are great against brutes, but you know what? There aren't too many... sorry, I should say Animancers aren't great against brutes. They're very good against fiends and gaunts, but there aren't too many fiends and gaunts in the army of Elazer right now. There are a lot of brutes. There are a lot of Hellborn, which are these more sort of bigger, tankier units. So they can sort of stand in the Dark Prophecy and tank it for a while and push through there and snipe off the Animancers. If you get a Dark Prophecy down on your gaunts, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. You have to move out of it straight away, or a lot of the time we'll see Infernal players just continue to attack with the gaunts, eat the Dark Prophecy, because they know that they're gonna die either way. They have such low health pools that they are gonna just, you know, succumb to that Dark Prophecy. Meanwhile, we've also got some Archangels coming out of Parting, so this isn't something you see every day, especially not out of Parting. These are really, really nice units, again, for... Oh my god, there's a Flayed Dragon. No, it's not a Flayed Dragon. I saw the shadow. I thought it was a Flayed Dragon, but it turns out it's another Archangel. Really, really great units against the Infernals. Primarily, though, I would say against Gaunts and the lighter stuff. They get an ability called Meteor Stomp, of course, where they can crash down on the ground, doing massive AoE damage, and that will really shred Gaunts. It will shred Fiends. Not so much against those larger, tankier units, though. But it is going to provide him with a lot of AoE damage, and it seems this is what he's going to be going for here alongside the Animancers, and he really wants to be careful of this ramp. If we get some Dark Prophecies down on the ramp there, that could be terrible for Elazer. A couple going down here on the Gaunts, and just as I said, Elazer is just going to stand there and eat the damage, sack those Gaunts, but there actually may just be too much here for Parting. Dropping down the... Is it the Purify? I forget the name of this ability, but it restores the energy for all of your units, and that is absolutely huge when you have Animancers. Again, giving you plenty more Dark Prophecies able to be cast. Oh, massive Dark Prophecy there on all of the Fiends. They are going to be very, very low here. Probably worth it, though, for Elazer. He does get a nice pick there on one of those Animancers, and I believe Parting has lost one of his... Yeah, he's lost one of his Archangels there. Meanwhile, Elazer going to be coming in with Shadow Flyers. So this was actually nothing to do with Flayed Dragons. He's just going to be getting Shadow Flyers out here with the Dive Bomb ability. And this was something that we saw Theory popularize. You can dive bomb buildings with this and snipe them off. Very, very good against the collection arrays of the Celestials, especially on those island bases. Obviously, that wasn't an island base, but, you know, it is... Oh, wait, it is an island base. I'm thinking of another map. Anyway... I'm getting so flustered, guys. Like, there's so much action going on here. I can barely cover this. Really, really nice base trades going on at the moment. I mean, Elazer coming in here and just sniping off that third base is pretty big there with the Dive Bomb ability. And he does have 4 Hellborn here, so he's kind of doing a great job zoning these Argents back. Meanwhile, Parting doing the same thing with his own Dark Prophecy. And a bunch of those go down, spawning out some Fiends. And the Animancer goes down again. I feel like these Animancers don't quite have the casting range to be able to sort of get back quick enough. They're also a slow-moving unit. So they have to sort of channel the Dark Prophecy, as you can see it doing here. And, oh my god, massive hit on that Animancer there from the Hellborn. And once they're channeling, they get sort of left at the front of the army. And then whenever... Parting tries to pull back here, because the Argents have the extra movement speed, they're actually running ahead of the Animancers. The Animancers are getting left at the back of the army, or technically the front of the army, and then Elazer's just getting some easy picks off there. So the SimCity is pretty good from Parting here, able to weave his Argents in and out of this base. But he is definitely, I feel, on the back leg here. Let's just have a quick count of bases. So we got 3 base here for Elazer. We've also got, you know, some mining on the Ethereum going down there for him. A couple of Animancers are still out, though, here. So both of these armies have just been whittled down to the bone, pretty much. I mean, it's not often that you're at, what, 14 minutes into a game, and the supplies look like it's 5 minutes into the game. We're at 64 for Elazer, 91 actually for PartinG now, as he seems to be coming out a little bit ahead. Quick base count for him. He's just taken now, I think, this second island base here on the other side of the map, and he has, of course, his main here. This one isn't fully mining, and neither of this one really either, right? We've got one prism there, and there's like one prism here, so yes, technically PartinG has 4 bases, but they've only got like a couple of 1 or 2 prisms on each of them, so it's not like 4 full mining bases. I would rather equate this to 3 bases, at least in terms of Luminite, and you know, I would also say the same thing goes there for Elazer. Meanwhile, PartinG is going to be coming in here and trying to get his own back, but the Flayed Dragon is now out on the field, guys. So this is very, very scary. As soon as these Argents start to go down and the Fiends start coming out of there, it's going to be a massive snowball here in terms of Elazer's army, because this Flayed Dragon, if you're unaware, it basically gives you 2 Fiends. Every unit that dies that is infested, you will get 2 Fiends from it instead of 1. So as you can imagine, that snowball effect there from the Infest and the Fiends starts to get really out of control. I think, yeah, the Infest has just worn off there. But Elazer keeps getting these beautiful picks on the Animancers, and Animancers are expensive units, especially in terms of Therium. Trading out Fiends for Animancers is definitely worth it. And the Flayed Dragon, just look at the regen on the Shroud there for the Flayed Dragon. Absolutely insane. Probably want to be dropping an effigy right here, in fact, just to give it that Shroud buff. It's barely lost any health, despite the fact that it was well into PartinG's base there. So that is certainly a unit to be reckoned with. And it looks like Elazer is doing some distance mining on the Therium here across the map. Really going ham on this Therium patch right now. I don't know why he's distance mining on this one. I guess, okay, I think that was a bit of a misclick, or he just, you know, thought he still had a shrine there. So he's now found this secret base, if you want to call it that, from PartinG. Not much that PartinG can do about this. Now that Elazer has an air unit out, he's going to be able to much, like, less effectively utilize these secret bases. Getting some prisms on this one. I kind of like the prism approach better than the collection array approach. The collection array is kind of easier to make just because you send the morph core over there and bang, you whap it down and you make a collection array. But it's also very easy to lose that collection array, whereas the prisms, you can just float them away instantaneously. They also don't take any time to set up the same way that a collection array does. So you can sort of just, you know, say, okay, I'm going to float these guys from there, float them down here. You can float them wherever you want on the map. Meanwhile, Elazer is going to be going ahead and taking this 3rd position here, as the supplies do start to pick up a little bit for both players into the 100s now finally. But PartinG is still that much ahead, 20 supply ahead. And I'm not 100% on the supply counts for the workers in this game yet. I think, can we see how much... No, we can't see how much a prism is worth. But because the collection arrays don't count for supply, generally speaking, the other factions are going to have more supply in terms of imps and bob workers than the Celestials will, because I think the only thing counting to supply for them is the prisms and not the collection array. So right now, PartinG is even more ahead really on supply than it looks like. Scythes though coming out from him here, and this is going to be a beautiful way of dealing with the Flayed Dragon there. If he can get those scythes on top of them, they could be pretty effective. Meanwhile, massive infesto down here on the Argents, but that's not really going to infect the air army here, and there are a bunch of scythes out here for PartinG. I'm not sure if he really has the movement speed to catch the Flayed Dragon with those, but they are going to be extremely effective against those Hellborn, as Hellborn, of course, cannot shoot up. Scythes haven't been seen for quite a while. They were very, very popular early on in early access, but then they got nerfed, and some massive explosions going down there on the side is going to be taking out a couple of them. Don't forget, Shadow Flares are, of course, available for Elazer here, so he does have a counter to this, and I think the Shadow Flares, they can get in and do some pretty good damage here, despite the fact that these scythes have this damage reduction aura that pops off on them when they use energy. And yep, here we go, seeing him trying to chase down the Flayed Dragon. I don't think they're going to get it, though. The Flayed Dragon is either too fast or it's matching the speed, I think, of the scythes here. let's see. Move speed 6. The size have move 5.5. Yeah, so the Flayed Dragon is just ever so slightly quicker than the poor size. He is not going to catch that, but it does get pretty low there on 200 health. And I think part of winning this game for PartinG is taking out that Flayed Dragon. You've always got to get rid of that. Unfortunately, I really love this again. Coming in with a Death Ray here. Isn't there a more cool unit or cool ability in an RTS game than literally moving your main base across the map and just saying, nope, I'm going to snipe one of your bases off with a massive laser beam of energy? That's pretty awesome. But you know what? Elazer says, I don't care, dude. I'm just going to go and snipe one of your bases too. Completely shuts down that island base there, moving the Flayed Dragon back away from those sites. He really can't afford to be complacent with them. And meanwhile, PartinG is going to get some nice picks here on the Hellborn. So he's actually opting to use these from range. The Scythe do more damage the closer you are. And some Cabals coming out from him. While the red Cabals look pretty cool, don't they? Super glowy. So they will do... Can we see it here? Yeah, they do 6 damage, right, to ground. But if you're on top of the unit, they will do 12 damage. So it scales up to 100%. The closer you are, the more damage they will do. And so sometimes it is worth getting right in on top of these units here and then starting to do the damage. But I guess with Gaunt's being able to attack them and starting to whittle them down, he just prefers to stay on that high ground and stay back a little bit there. Giving chase here. Oh, this is beautiful. So he uses the Cabal there to debilitate the Flayed Dragon, slowing its movement speed. Now it can't get away from the sights anymore. And down it goes. Oh, beautiful Dark Prophecy down there on the Hellborn as well. Unfortunately, unable to capitalize with the sights on it there because the Shroudstone does go down, so he pulls those sights back, losing a few more of them. More Dark Prophecies going down here on these Hellborn. 3 Animances out right now. And PartinG, I think, ever so slightly is starting to pull ahead here in terms of army size. I mean, there's just a smattering of units left here. They're disorganized. Now they've finally been brought back together again. And here we can see what PartinG has left. 2 Animancers, a handful of Argents, and a single Scythe. So Elazer has come out of this not too badly either. Definitely killed a lot of the army. But he's also lost that Flayed Dragon. So that's absolutely huge from him. I think all of the Cabals went down there. But that was a beautiful play. This is exactly what I was talking about, right, guys, at the start of this game. That PartinG just knows how to deal with stuff. He just thinks, okay, this Flayed Dragon's becoming a problem. I'm going to build Scythes, and I'm going to chase your Flayed Dragon. He can't catch it. So what does he do? He builds the one unit that the Celestials have available to them that can allow him to catch it. The Cabal, just to get that one unit to debilitate it. We've seen him do the same thing, of course, against Hedgehogs. Cabals are seriously underrated as a unit for Celestials. I think a lot of people build them and go, oh, like, what is the point of this unit? But PartinG is one of the players who shows just how powerful they can be. New Flayed Dragon is out now on the field, so this Scythe is going to have to tuck tail and run. But no Cabal here in sight this time, so there is going to be a big breath going down on all of these Argents, I think. There we go. All of them now infected. And you can see the damage starting to tick away on them there. Unfortunately, there's nothing else for Elazer here to actually capitalize on this and get some of the kills there. That's really what you want. You want to get the Flayed Breath Dragon... get the breath there from the Flayed Dragon on the units and then start picking them off so you can start getting that Fiend Snowball running. Massive conga line of imps here. Is Elazer starting? Elazer is looking pretty mined out this game. I mean, we are up to almost 24 minutes. This is very late into the game at the moment. This base is mined out completely. This base is mined out. The Therium is almost gone here. And I think PartinG knows, like, this is the last base. Collectionaries have been placed down here almost, like, everywhere on the map for PartinG. He has, oh my god, he's actually been super proactive. Like, even this natural base, is this mined out? I think this may be mined out. No, it's probably not mined out, because when they mine out, I think they float above. They automatically disengage from the Luminite mine, and they just sort of float there in the air. So I think he's still mining from that base, interestingly enough. And that's probably due to the fact that instead of having full mining capacity like you would have with 4 prisms on there, he's only been mining at half capacity, right? Yeah, you can see the prism mining still there. So that means that base is still up for him. So PartinG is on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, and poor old Elazer, he doesn't have any income. He's completely dry. That's why he's forced to distance mine here with these imps. From this one as well, he's desperately trying to get a shrine up and running here. Now, he does have one. But again, as I was mentioning, you know, this base is just hard to defend. It's hard to defend. You've got a huge ramp here. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if we just see PartinG bring over the Arcfortress and snipe it a third time this game. Has this game ended? Okay, I think... Hold on a second, guys. Wait up here. I'm pretty sure that... Yeah, I was like, why is PartinG just stood there with the army? I'm pretty sure he's left the game and PartinG wins this one. God damn it. Replay functionality. It doesn't even tell me when the game is over. How am I supposed to know? And then it just seems to continue like this. GG, I'm going to go ahead and I will watch this to the end to make sure, double check nothing happens, guys. But assuming that PartinG wins this one, we're going to be going on to game number 4. Okay, that was a bit of a weird game, guys. As we move on to game number 4 here, Lost Hope. So it is now 2-1 to Elazer. Actually, I need to swap the scores here. What has happened? I think they've... Yeah, they switched colours, right? PartinG was red, now Elazer's red for some reason, but I digress. It's 2-1 to Elazer at the moment. I think the issue with the replays there is that if you have a replay that's from the player's perspective, it will tell you when somebody leaves the game, the first person to leave the game, and that's how you can see who wins. You can't see any GG or any chat in replays yet, unfortunately. There's a lot of functionality that we really want added to this from Frost Giant. We really need the health bars, for example. I know a lot of you guys are asking, hey, can't you enable health bars? No, unfortunately, I can't, and that really is one of the biggest features. Hopefully, the big patch that's coming on the 17th on Tuesdays is going to enable that. Although, I don't think replay functionality is like top of the list, to be honest with you, in terms of priorities for Frost Giant, but who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I think the difference is that if you have somebody who is observing a game and the replay is from them, then you can't see whenever somebody leaves. So that's why it left us in that embarrassing situation. So PartinG is going to be going for this Legion Hall. I've seen this build out of him on this particular map here against Denver once again. So in that series, he did the same sort of thing. He basically ping-ponged back between these two different tactics, and this is where he likes to put it. There's actually a sneaky little area that you can mine out the trees there with the Morph Core, and then he likes to drop the Legion Hall right there, which is a very, very difficult area for Elazer to get to. There's high ground here, so we can't get up this way, and there are trees in the way here and trees in the way there, so the only way he can kill this is either with ranged units or by flying units. So, actually, you know what? Elazer... Okay, no, he has gone Iron Vault first here. Double Iron Vault first, I should say, so he's just going for that regular Conclave to follow up there. And I fully expect to see him just going into the Ritual Chamber again, not getting a super early expansion or anything like that. There's a scanner coming out across the map here. I don't think PartinG has actually scouted his opponent. We do, of course, have cross spawns here. But he sees the army in the middle there. Not sure if that's a good enough indication that he knows where he's coming from. He's checking down there. But there isn't anything there at the moment. And the Seraphim are now coming out of the Legion Hall. So we're going to be seeing a similar opening, or, well, really an identical opening here for PartinG that we saw in game number 1. But game number 1, if I remember correctly, was on Secluded Grove. This time we've got Lost Hope, which is a much bigger map. Lots of creep camps. So PartinG is really going to be able to capitalize with the Seraphim getting around the map, taking all of these camps, because it's a huge map and Seraphim are flying fast units. For Elazer to want to try to contest all of those camps, it's gone... Oh, the Hexen goes down there. Nice pick. It's really, really going to be difficult for him. And he's going to have to fall back again. So this is looking pretty similar to game number 1 here, where we saw the exact same thing happen. Elazer went for these ground units that can't shoot up, and then we saw PartinG basically just make him fall back with the Seraphim. And 4 Seraphim out now on the field. Actually, if these start to snowball out of control, this could be a problem if he gets into the main of Elazer. You can actually do some worker harassment and start to pick off some units pretty well. But there are a bunch of gaunts just came out of nowhere here. Is there only one conclave? Wow, yeah, I guess he must have used the top bar ability there, but the macro out of Elazer is pretty crazy right now, getting out so many gaunts here this early. Like, the 4-minute mark in the game, this is a pretty scary army, and he's going to go straight for a push into PartinG's base here, and the only thing PartinG has to defend with looks like it's the Seraphim. Beautiful SimCity, though, from him again. Like, he knows that if he's going to go for this build, this is the weakness, right? There could be a push coming on the base, so he falls back here, and once again, he's got a blast node. He's got 2 blast nodes coming up here, so as long as he can hold on with the Sovereign's Watch until these blast nodes finish up, I think he should be fine. Keeping the Seraphim back, trying to do some damage to those brutes on the front line there, because those are going to be doing the brunt of the damage to the buildings. Meanwhile, is he... Okay, yeah, he's targeting the Argents there. I thought he was going for the power bank for a second. The blast node... Okay, yeah, he got one of the towers down. One blast node is going to finish, though. So, again, that's going to push Elazer back, and so far, this is looking, I would say, almost identical to game number 1. We see Elazer going for the same answer to the Seraphim here with lots of gaunts. We see him going for the same push. And, you know, PartinG defending. But if we remember how game number 1 went, PartinG lost that game. So it begs the question, why is he going for this tactic again? Obviously, he thinks he can do something better here. The blast node is alive here, guys. So this should be able to do some... Oh my god, he's losing so many gaunts here, actually, sucking a lot of them to kill off all of those Seraphim. Still one more Seraphim left. I don't know if Elazer's even scouted this Legion Hall, if he knows it well, obviously he knows it exists somewhere, but I don't think he knows exactly where it is. That's what's so good against the blast node, right, is that it doesn't just fire on the ground and then you can move out of it. It literally targets a unit. So if you want to not get your entire army hit, you have to micro that one unit out of your army. Similar to, like, I don't know, the Hunter-Seeker missile that used to be on Ravens in StarCraft or something like that. So he is going to get a nice deny on this expansion, though, of PartinG's. Really stopping that there. Ritual Chambers coming down. But no expansion of his own yet. And to be honest, it doesn't look like Elazer's making much of an effort to save up the 350 Luminite that he needs. But again, you know, we see PartinG just float these prisms over to this mine, and it's no big deal. He says, okay, I can't mine at this one over there. I'm just going to float them over, dude. Meanwhile, a collection array going down there, so he's going to make an effort to try to get this back up and running. And if we remember again, once again on Secluded Grove, what PartinG like to do is get some turrets down behind that expansion, chases away these prisms, but that's not really going to matter. He's just going to bring them back. Or better still, transition over to this one. That's the beauty of prisms, man. Yeah, so PartinG likes to do some SimCity here as well. He'll probably going to get some blast nodes up and running there. So if Elazer can come in and deny this earlier on, like he kind of failed to do in the first game, despite the fact he still went on to win it, that's really going to cripple PartinG. Meanwhile, though, he is going to be pushing into the main. And PartinG is now starting to take up into those Animancers, but, you know, I'm not feeling so great about this game for PartinG. It just feels like Elazer has way too much map control again, right? I mean, presumably you're going and getting these Seraphim to take map control yourself, to take all of these creep camps, and PartinG hasn't been able to do that. Elazer hasn't let him because he's forced him back home to defend. He's, of course, sniped off a lot of the Seraphim as well, and now he's only got one out here. It looks like he's actually stopped Seraphim production, and is instead going to be saving his Therium here for the Animancers. Actually, more scanners coming out of PartinG here, so interested to see where he's going to send those. This is pretty much PartinG's army at the moment, like a handful of Argents. And if we look at the supplies here, though, it says that PartinG is ahead. So I guess Elazer maybe lost more than it looked like. I thought he had a way larger army than PartinG. And a bit of a tussle going down over this Luminite tower here. I think these gaunts aren't going to be enough to defend here, especially with the Skulls of Shadow going down and a few Fiends coming out. Not the best units to take on gaunts, and now with more of them coming in and reinforcing, the Plague Axes are done. So lots of Fiends are going to be coming out of these Argents if PartinG isn't careful. Effigy goes down there. Only has 5 HP though when it's off of Shroud, so... And the Blast Node... Oof! See what I mean? You got to be careful. You run it down and it can go next to your entire army and just make you take a bunch of splash damage. So he is actually going to be getting this base in time. There are no Blast Nodes out yet for PartinG here, or they're on the high ground. Oh! Nice hit there on the Gaunts. I think they do 35 damage there by the looks of it, so you actually can't two-shot a Gaunt with a Blast Node, but, you know, again, it's going to do some crazy area damage, really start to wear down the HP pool of those Gaunts, and just make it that much easier for the Argents, who are now kind of empty on energy, to pick off some of those Gaunts. You know, whilst they're not the best unit against Gaunts, you can still target fire. Once you've got a number of them, you can just target fire the Gaunts down, and if they die to one shot from every unit, I guess it doesn't matter that much if you're not dealing as much damage. Not as good for A-moving, of course, but still pretty decent for target fire. Got the little sneaky scanner there. It looks like a little cat, doesn't it? Little cutie. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the cast here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Plenty more content to come out of me in the future on Stormgate. Lots of news coming up as well, because we've been recently hearing on what is going to be in patch 0.2, which is like the first big patch for Stormgate, really, since early access came out. So far, there's only been a couple of balance changes, but there's going to be new aesthetic changes coming to the game. There's going to be a rework of some of the campaign characters like Amara. There's a new hero coming for co-op mode, as well as a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date with all of that stuff here on the channel, as well as do more casted games and guides and all that stuff. So if you guys aren't subscribed, I mean, what are you doing with your life, man? Like, hit that button, yo. No, seriously though, guys, thanks for the support. It really means a lot. I appreciate it. So Elazer, looking pretty strong here. Just building up that big Infernal Death Ball, taking a third here. Going to be getting some more Therium mining going down. Reaper's Rush is on the way. Hellforge is out, and we're probably going to be seeing those Hellborn coming out of him once again. PartinG, much the same. The Animancers are out. Where's his upgrade building? Wait, does he have... I think he's got Dark Prophecy already researched. I think I just missed that. You can't see it, unfortunately. You can only see, like, buffs down here, I believe. Yeah, you can see the buffs there, but if you click on, like, a caster, you can't see the upgrades in terms of what they can cast. But I am pretty sure, because since he's not upgrading anything, that he already has Dark Prophecy available. And this is exactly what I was talking about with these prisms. This right now is just not on Elazer's radar. Can he see that with the vision from the health cam? I don't think he can, you know. And just to make sure, PartinG's going to go ahead and make sure he caps that health camp as well. But yes, if you look at the minimap, like pretend you're Elazer, you're looking at the minimap. I think he's seen the Legion Hall. He goes, what the heck is this here? Big Dark Prophecy is going down there, but not in the right position, unfortunately. But Elazer does want to be careful. He could easily get caught off in that corner there. But yeah, if you look at the minimap and you look at this Luminite mine, you barely even notice this blue just mining away there. So a lot of small bases, both in terms of collection rays and prisms for the Celestials, they really can go unnoticed, you know? Elazer's going to come and... See, he's capping this. He's capping it back with his Gaunts. And he looks like he has no intention of going for these prisms, so I think he has no clue that they're there. And that's maybe 40% of a fully mining base right there. More Dark Prophecies coming down there. I like the fact that all these trees have gone for Elazer. That's really going to help him. He wants to open up these choke points, right? There are pretty large chokes here already. But what he... Oh, this is going to be careful. He could easily get caught in Dark Prophecy there and lose all of these Gaunts. He's split the army, but likewise, PartinG needs to be careful with the Animancers. They are now, you know, casting, so they can't move, remember, when they're casting, guys. And they are taking a lot of the damage. It seems like the Argents have slightly more range than the Animancers. And that's slightly hurting the Animancers, because then the Animancers stand at the front of the army casting, whilst the Argents stay behind them, which is definitely not what you want from your casters. You want the Argents to be the brunt of the army, the frontal force. I feel like maybe that's Maybe that's just the design choice on Frost Giant's part there, why they've given the Animancers such a short range so that you do have a chance to pick them off. But if we look at the equivalent for the Infernals, and they have the Hexens that cast the Miasma, they've got a way bigger casting range. If you guys watch Hexens casting, they are like way back behind the entire army, and it is incredibly hard to snipe them. You have to actually get in behind the army and flank it, whereas sniping Animancers seems way easier. Now, there are a lot of Animancers here, but there's not much of anything else. Despite PartinG being at 150 supply, so he's well ahead. Going to be sniping off this middle base here for Elazer, which is trying to capitalize on all of this Therium. This is one of the, you know, key notes of this map. There's just this massive pool of Therium in the middle of the game, and as the game gets on in time, of course, it all becomes enriched, so it's a massive resource there. And all of these Animancers, man, I mean, they're just going to get sniped again. Were these Dark Prophecies really worth it there for PartinG? I'm not sure that they were, you know. He really didn't get too many picks, and the Flayed Dragon's out. Shadow Flyers are out now. Which is an interesting move, because does he have Dive Bomb, actually? Can we see that here? If he's gotten Dive Bomb, there should be a Shadow Cleft. I don't see a Shadow Cleft, guys. So, yeah, okay. Getting the Raging Tendons there for the Magmadons. So, I called it was going to be Hellborn. I guess he's instead decided to go Magmadons this game. So, cheers, Elazer. Last time I called it was Magmadons, you went Hellborn, and now the opposite has happened. And this base has been fully taken for PartinG. Does Elazer see this? Man, I wish I could just go and flick into Elazer's vision to see exactly what he sees. That would be so interesting, actually, when we see these sneaky hidden bases for the Celestials, because it happens oh so often. Like, look at this. He walked straight past the base. He has no clue. There's another PartinG is right on his doorstep with another base. And instead, miraculously, Elazer decides to go for a run-by into the third of PartinG here. Doesn't get the kill, though. And is going to, for that little trick, lose most of these Fiends. So, not scouting right now for Elazer is really damaging him. He's even got a Therium Purifier down here, and he's mining Therium. I think Elazer is just so busy. I mean, look at this on the top right side of the map. He's scouting here with the Fiends, but he hasn't done the same, unfortunately, on the bottom left. Like, oh, dude, if you're going to scout top right, you better scout bottom left as well, man. And I think this could come back to bite Elazer. Look at PartinG's supply. He is ahead here. And look at how much energy he has as well. And now there are scythes starting to come out as well. I dare say we'll see Cabals coming out for PartinG, and he's going to deal with this Flayed Dragon the same way he did in the last game. Actually, mixing some Hellborn in here. Do we see a Shadow Cleft yet? No, no Shadow Cleft. So I think Elazer's not going to bother going for the Dive Bomb. Dive Bomb was nerfed, guys. So Theory used this in the Esports World Cup Stormgate competition to get pretty far. He lost, I think, in the first or second round, went down to the loser's bracket, managed to claw his way all the way back to the finals, mostly by using the Dive Bomb ability and sniping, because every other player in that tournament was a Celestial player, and he sniped so many collection rays. They nerfed it so you need 6 Dive Bombers now instead of 4. Meanwhile, Elazer, bless his heart, he's finally cottoned on to the fact that PartinG is here, right on his doorstep, and he's going to kill him. Not to say that I would have noticed that base either. I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have even been smart enough to think about scouting. Meanwhile, though, an Archangel is going to come and zap down there, blast down on all of those gaunts with that beautiful Meteor Strike. Massive Dark Prophecy going down as well. And all of a sudden, Elazer has lost all of the core of his army. Yes, he's got a front line. Yes, he's got some Magmadons coming in here, actually doing a beautiful stomp. Where is the Flayed Dragon at, though? Did the Flayed Dragon die and I missed that? I'm not sure, guys. But if it is alive, it's very much out of position and it needs to be in this fight right now. Fiends spawning on these Argents would have made the world of difference, but actually Elazer is managing to get back in here, get some nice little picks on the Animancers. I feel like PartinG just needs to turn around and kill this. Just turn around and shoot these Magmadons and kill them. You've got a massive army in comparison. I mean, look at the supplies right now. He's more than double the supply of Elazer. What are you scared of? So, Flayed Dragon... I think the Flayed Dragon went down. Apologies, guys, if I missed that one. I can't think of any other reason why he wouldn't want that. And, oh, now he realizes. Now he comes down the bottom left and he says... He face palms and he says, oh my lord, what is this? And GG's, as soon as Elazer sees that base, he just nopes out of there. PartinG is going to take this series up to 2-2. Alright, guys. Game number 5. Dreaded Isle? What's this map called? I forget the name of this map. Is it Dreaded Isle? Isle of Dread. That's the one. Okay. We got the map name right. So, all of a sudden, guys, this series has really opened up. Now, either of these players are going to need 2 more games to take this. And this is why best of 5s, and even more so best of 7s like this, become so interesting. Because, like, in a best of 3, you maybe just see one player use a very effective tactic. The other player doesn't really get a handle on how to defend against it. And they just win 2-0 pretty quickly. And you really never get to see how the defending player, let's call them, manages to react to things. In this best of 7, though, we have really seen how this has evolved over time. We've seen the different tactics that PartinG has gone for, sometimes opting to go for the Seraphim. And like I said in the last game, he seems to bound back and forth between these tactics. And now he's going back to tactic number 2, which is just getting a collection array out here, getting out creation chambers and going for early Argent, starting to creep around the map. More standard play, I suppose you could call it. So why he's deciding to go back and forth on these, is it some sort of strategic play on PartinG's mind there, or is it just he says, okay, I'm just going to literally play one game of this and one game of the other to keep Elazer on his toes? I don't know. Who knows what is inside PartinG's brain? But meanwhile, Elazer has gone for, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's had the exact same build every single game. Double Iron Vault, he gets out a Conclave, starts mining some Therium, adds in the Gaunts, goes for the Ritual Chamber, starts those upgrades, and only then does he expand behind that. And of course he wants to be creeping whilst he's doing all of that as much as possible to really capitalize on that Luminite. So I think, if this match plays out the same as the other previous 4, we're in for something slightly longer here. I think both of these players are of a caliber where neither of them seem to really die to any crazy cheesy shenanigans, and PartinG is usually the person to do those crazy cheesy shenanigans. These games, though, he hasn't been doing that. I think he knows, and maybe, let's say, respects Elazer as a player enough to know that he's not going to die to that. Nice brute splits coming down here, getting out some fiends, but the micro there from PartinG is just too good. He actually manages to protect all of those Argents. We've got 1 on 83. So yes, Fiends are a decent counter to Argents, but in so little number, I don't think they're really good enough. Meanwhile, we've got an Imp coming in. What are you doing, you cheeky little fellow? What is this going up as? There's a Shroud Stone coming down here, so I like this. Looks like Elazer is trying to get some sort of a forward position there. He mainly wants this for the Shroud generation, then he can start to push effigies into PartinG's base and get a little bit of an advantage for his army. But that is going to be instantaneously scouted and shut down by PartinG, of course. Now, this number of Fiends might be a little bit more effective. Beautiful wrap around there. On the Argents, none of them can move at all, and they are forced to just stop and fire, kill a couple of the Fiends. Now they can get out of there. 1 Argent goes down, 2 Argents go down, 3 Argents go down. But, a bunch of Fiends have gone down there for Elazer as well. So I would say that was a fairly even trade, as we do see PartinG slightly, ever so slightly ahead in terms of resources. Now, the bases on this map that you can take are also kind of interesting. Like, every single map in Stormgate is so wildly different. And that's kind of the approach that Frost Giant are going for, right? They want... Is he going for this again? Oh, he's going to put it down here this time. Interesting. They want every map to be different. They want to try stuff out and see what works for their game. So we've got this one expansion here with a massive cliff to defend it, but trees in the back. or you've got the double Luminite mine. Generally, we'll see Celestial players go double Luminite, which is what PartinG is doing right there. And PartinG has scouted this Shroudstone. So again, that is not going to be a successful window for Elazer to get in. But he is going to get a little Fiend run by into the main there. Probably going to get a snipe on the power bank if nothing else. Wants to shut down the collectionary. Are we going to see a Sovereign's Watch? Yes, we are. So why is he still going for this? He's not going to get it yet. He needs to retreat there. I think he just wasn't looking. Is he going to go for the power bank? No, actually he doesn't bother going for the power bank. Meanwhile, going to be poking in the front door here. So this is cool. The shroud from this stone actually spreads ever so slightly onto this side of the trees, meaning that, yeah, there we go, an effigy, no, sorry, a second Shroudstone manifestation comes down there, spreading the shroud even further, and of course, providing a lot of great DPS support there for Elazer's army. But I don't think the army is big enough. He spent too many Luminite resources here that PartinG's is just a lot larger. He's not really lost too many Argents in terms of the Fiends that were lost by Elazer before, so in terms of losses, I would say we are pretty equal. What I think would be nice if he had, okay, there we go, the Magmadon comes in to take down all the trees. This is a very early Magmadon here, 5 minutes and 44 seconds. And he's going to be putting pressure on this second base here. Does not want PartinG to get this double Luminite mine going, but yeah, man, I just don't think he has enough units. PartinG doesn't want to push into these double Shroudstones. But at the same time, Elazer doesn't really have enough to push into the Argent, so it's kind of a bit of a stalemate. And obviously PartinG feels confident. He's got a blast node down there already. He's building a second collectionary. He says, yeah, you're not taking this base anytime soon, dude. Let's just keep on building up here. Lifts off the collectionary there. It's very, very low. 6 HP and down it goes. So maybe a little bit sloppy there by PartinG. Should have respected Elazer's army slightly more and lifted it off a little bit earlier. I guess he wanted to really maximize the mining time there. But meanwhile, we have a second Magmadon now coming down. So if both of these just stomp into the Argents, that could be very, very dangerous. And this is nice play as well. Just opening up here. This is really what you want for the Infernals, right? You want surface area. You want to be able to get a good concave on enemy buildings, choke points, units, pretty much everything. But PartinG doesn't want that. He wants to be able to jam all of his Argents into a small little crevice, only allowing 1 or 2 of them to be hit. But there are a lot of turrets coming down right now. There's another blast node there. There's a link node coming down. Another Shroudstone goes down there from Elazer. He's only got 12 Animus left, so he's literally spent all of his Animus on Shroudstone manifestation this game. But these Magmadons are still pretty scary. Argents, however, do extra damage against heavy units, so they will do extra damage against the Magmadons. And remember, when you're back home and you're defending, the Argents are going to be constantly recharged by the power banks. Unfortunately, he is low on power at the moment, but that's going to mean they're doing double damage to the Magmadons, and one of them just almost instantaneously gets melted there. But so many Shroudstones here from Elazer. Okay, one of them goes down there. Yeah, I just don't think there's enough here for Elazer. A nice tactic, but not really like enough backbone to the army. There's like one Magmadon here, but PartinG is just going to stroll in here and snipe all of this down. There goes the Wraithstone. And the Shroudstone is going to go down here. I'd be running away with this Hellborn probably because it's going to get sniped right now. And so is the second one. I think, yeah, Elazer's totally all in with this. He's actually, there's been so much going on here. I haven't checked the base, but there's nothing else back home there. There's no ritual chamber. This is it, right? He's got tier 2 tech out very, very early, but that's pretty much the only trick he's got in his back pocket. And yeah, GG, it looks like PartinG is going to take this one pretty easily there. Nice defense from him. So game 6, guys. And this one's on Jagged Moor. What a map to have. I don't think it's one we see all too often because, you know, a lot of the best of 3s and best of 5s, maybe you just don't get that far. Okay, this is not going to be... So every time I see an imp moving out against Celestials, I think, is this going to be going all the way to his base? Making a Shroudstone? I don't think PartinG is... I don't want to say stupid enough because it feels like I'm calling other players stupid who don't defend against that, but Let me put it another way. I think PartinG is too experienced defending against early Shroud Stones against his collection array that he's not going to die to that kind of thing. So Elazer deciding to respect PartinG's prowess here and go for his standard build. Well, interestingly enough, though, in the last build, he went for something totally different, which completely surprised, I think, all of us, myself included, because there was so much early pressure there, and we were focused on PartinG's base and his defense that entire game that Elazer just really, like, I didn't even check the base, and he came out of nowhere with early Magmadons, followed up by early Hellborn. I guess that didn't really work out for him well enough, though. However, maybe on this map it could. Question is, as well, you know, does PartinG... I would have said, would he want to go for Seraphim on this map just because of the short rush distance, but I haven't actually seen him utilize them against workers. But I do wonder in that very early game timing where, like around now, you've only got Brutes out, you've only got Fiends out, because Elazer, every single game, he goes for this double Iron Vault, which means he doesn't have any protection against air. So if you would get Seraphim out nice and early, couldn't you just fly across here and start sniping imps? I don't know. Maybe food for thought. But the days of the Morph Core Rush are gone. That was pretty much what we saw for every Celestial player on this map in the first iteration of Early Access. But this series has been an absolute wicked one. Every game here has gone the distance, I feel. Very, very interesting builds out of both players. And it only takes one more for PartinG to take this series. 2 more for Elazer. So is this going to go down to the wire? I would love to see a 3-3 and see the last game come out of them both. But we are going to find out, ladies and gents. So Power Surge there going down on one of the creation chambers. Power Surge, I feel, one of the more interesting mechanics for the Celestials. So they don't get food. You don't need to build supply to build units. They just instantly get 300 supply, as you can see down here. However, they do get power that you need to manage. And you can surge your buildings to gain a variety of advantages. In the case of production buildings, it increases the production speed by 50%. But it costs you power. And the more power you use, the more power banks you need to build. So it's kind of, power banks are basically like your supply structure in that sense. But it leads to some interesting situations where if you've decided that you've built up your base enough and you have enough energy, you can just spend all of your resources on building units and you never have to stop building units to build supply. Whereas the other two races, they do have to stop building units and, you know, they have to sneak in meat farms, they have to sneak in habitats here and there. So early Guardian Nexus here, going down for the Argent upgrade, I can only assume. I think Krees maybe need to be changed as well. I can only assume on Tuesday, on the 17th, if that is when we get the new patch, we're going to see a balance patch. I would love to see some changes to the Krees because I think, at least at the pro high-end here, they seem to be pretty underrepresented. And I think the Celestial kind of lacks a bit of a front part of its army. Like, in the same way that Lancers for the Vanguard are the front end of the army, you know, the bulwark of the army, if you like, and the Brutes similarly for the Infernals. I feel like the Celestials don't really have that. They've just got the Argents, and they are pretty tanky, but they're still a ranged unit. Then again, I guess you could say the same thing goes for Terran in StarCraft, right? Now, meanwhile, I love this. The artillery's coming out here. The V5. Getting some Command and Conquer flashbacks here for Mr. PartinG. The big boy. Ritual Chamber going down. So it looks like Elazer's kind of going back to his old ways here. The original build. Getting an expansion out as well. What are we up to here? 4 minutes 47. So that's a little bit faster than I think we've seen him expanding some of the other builds here. He hasn't been putting on that same pressure. He is going to get a pick though on that V5 rocket launcher. So that is not going to be a successful attack there for PartinG. I don't think he really had anything behind this. He purely wanted the camps there. I think he just wanted the resources, and then he just let that artillery go across the map. And yeah, it looks like Elazer's done the same here and taken his own. I don't know if he's going to be backing this up with his army or not, but we are sure to find out, guys. Ascension Matrix coming down now as well. So PartinG really loves this build. Going into that early upgrade, which is already done, in fact, for the Argents, and then getting out the Dark Prophecies. Meanwhile, we do have a run by of Fiends coming by. Possibly. Maybe he's just scouting this base down there, but I like this two-pronged attack. He's got the artillery at the front of the V5 rocket launcher. I keep calling it an artillery because that's what it used to be. It was literally like a catapult in the betas. Poking in the front there. Actually not going to be doing a run-by with the Fiends yet. This ramp isn't really as far back as I think he needs it to be for that sort of a run-by. But again, these blast nodes are just paying for themselves tenfold right now. I mean, every single game I think we've seen blast nodes here for PartinG, they are so powerful. And if you guys have been playing Celestial and you've been sleeping on the blast nodes, I thoroughly recommend getting some. They are very good. And if you're going for, you need an upgrade, right? You need the Arcfortress. Sorry, the Arc Station, the secondary, the tier 2 upgrade for the Arc ship. You need that to get them, but if you're going for a build such as this where you're getting into higher tech anyway, it's definitely worth getting blast nodes. So early third coming out of Elazer. Going to be playing a much more heavily macro-focused game here. He's been the main aggressor in this series, has Elazer. And he lost the last game. And he's now on match point against PartinG. So I think he's thinking better of it and saying, okay, you know what? Maybe I just kind of need to hang back. But I think this is exactly what PartinG wants. He's able to get Dark Prophecy out here. And remember, guys, this map, it has a lot of chokes. It's basically one big choke point. If you look at it, it's just like a long U-shape corridor on its side. And even if you go through the middle of the map, I mean, there's a choke there, there's a ramp there. Yes, you can go that way to flank, but there's still just a choke point everywhere, no matter where you go. There's a ramp there, there's a ramp here, right? So I think Dark Prophecy is going to work wonders. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure that's a good idea, PartinG, going into that army right now. Plague Axes are done here, and Reaper's Rush is almost done as well. So he thinks better of it, goes back home. Meanwhile, there's going to be another blast node most likely, and a collection array coming down here for PartinG. Did he just accidentally, like... Oh no, I guess there was... Oh, the Fiends were there, right, yeah. I missed that, but the Fiends got a little bit of damage on that collection array. It was forced to lift off. So Dark Prophecy is now out already very early in this game. And this is the turning point. This is the point where, you know, PartinG is able to start to push back Elazer's army, I think. Couple of nice picks here on these Argents. I'm not sure where they were going. Were they scouting? Were they just misrallied? Who knows? That blast node doesn't even go down. It doesn't even get to half HP, so that was a massive waste of Fiends there. You can see how good they are. They're just so good against everything. They're great against light units, but also good against heavy units as well. You can't go wrong with a couple of blast nodes. So right now, I would say both players are fairly equal. Very equal on supplies. Maybe Elazer ever so slightly ahead here in terms of bases and taking these middle creep camps. But if we look at each side of the map, both these players respectively have control of their sides. But we do have a bunch of imps here on the second for Elazer, a bunch on the third as well. So we have 3 and a 4th going down now. 3 fully saturated bases. Meanwhile, for PartinG, we've got... Is this just starting to mine again now? We've got like... Okay, this doesn't even have 4 prisms on it. This is fully mining. This has 1 prism. This, like... Yeah, there's nowhere near as much mining going on for PartinG as there is for Elazer. And it's only going to get worse because Elazer is going to come in here and take out this base. A strike now down there on the cliff, but that is just not going to be enough damage. Meanwhile, I love this from PartinG coming in and cutting off some of the army of Elazer, utilizing that ramp there to get some nice Dark Prophecies down. And the army is going to be big enough here that he's going to get some decent picks, and I think the rest of this army is going to get trapped. Archangel comes in here to save the day. Unfortunately, he goes down there. Goes down to the Magmadon, but another Archangel there. Does he have Meteor Strike researched, I wonder? Because if you do research, you get some additional AoE damage after there. I don't know. I'm not sure about Archangels, if that's actually one of the upgrades that's worth researching all too much. I haven't seen them in too many games yet. No research coming on at the moment, but what do you guys think? Was that trade worth it for Elazer? He kills his base, but he lost a lot of units as well, and he's still behind. But economically, he's got to be far ahead, right? What happened to the imps here, though? Did he just pull? I think he maybe just pulled a bunch of them to funnel onto his 4th, which is now up and running. So, you know, very soon, I think PartinG is going to be forced to actually do something. Like, he needs to get in here and get some economical damage done to Elazer and put this down. And... wait, what? Elazer... did Elazer just leave the game? Wait. What just happened here? I'm so flabbergasted. Did I gotta spin back and see if I missed something huge here, guys. I found the thing I completely missed. I was so busy jibber-jabbering. That this is what PartinG wins with. While this fight is going on, and I was busy over here, he just sent the Arc ship across the map. And laser beamed the shrine. This is such a weird thing, right? Because when you look on the minimap, you don't really think, oh, like there's one unit there. You're not really focusing on that, all right? You're focusing on the big fight going down here. So much so that I completely missed him sniping that base. And that is actually quite powerful. I thought that this game, I really thought that this ability was somewhat of a gimmick. But PartinG's showing that it's actually pretty effective. And then what we see is he sends an Archangel across the map. And, like, it's not too bad, right? I mean, all that happens here is he slams down with a Meteor Strike. He kills some of the imps. But I guess Elazer says, okay, I don't have any air. I only have Magmadons and Brutes. I can't defend against this. And he thinks he's going to go and slam down on the imps on all of the other expansions here. And he leaves the game. I mean, yeah, he's got a pretty sparsely thinned out army, but I guess I wouldn't have left just yet. But anyways, GG. PartinG is going to take this series. Well played to him. 4-2 over Elazer. And he's going to move on to the grand finals. Guys, the next game is going to be the semi-final between Lucifron and Mana. Absolutely massive series there. I'm sure it's going to be super entertaining. So if you guys enjoy these kind of casts, make sure you're subscribed. This is probably going to be like some of the last casts you'll ever see of this build of Stormgate as well. Things I'm sure will change on Tuesday, and all of these replays will be gone. So come and watch them while you can. Thank you, as always, for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.